All right, so I've been kind of neglecting my starter kit, and Next.js 15 is out, and I wanted to see if I can update my starter kit to use that. Let's just go ahead and make sure I'm on the correct branch and inside the right directory. It seems like I am. I haven't ran this thing in a while, so I don't know how far we'll get in this video. I do not plan to this is going to be a live video. It's just going to be watching me code. It might go a little long. It might end in failure, but that is how software engineering works. So in my README, luckily I documented how to run it. So if you go over here, you can say docker compose up. I've already ran these two, and I have an env file that's already set up with a bunch of accounts, like account keys and stuff. So I don't need to do that part. So I'm going to go ahead and just load this one up, clear that, and then I'm going to run docker compose up. Hopefully it works. It's been a while since I run this. But to understand what's happening there, let's just look at the docker compose file. And this is going to have some things in it, right? These things kind of describe what you want to run in Docker that's running on your system. So if you want to basically spin up a Postgres database, you can just line 4 say, hey, I want to use the Postgres image. That's going to do a lookup on Docker Hub and then download the latest image. And you can kind of set some ports. The way this works is the port on the left is the port on your machine, and then this is the port inside. So for example, you're running something else, you could actually map port 5000 to that port, and then I could actually connect to that via my host port here very easily. Those are kind of the important things, but most of this stuff you can probably just use GPT to generate for you now and just run it, see if it works. And in our case, it looks like it did spin up our container. So next step in the README is we can run db migrate. Let's see if we've done this before. So I'm going to go ahead and just open up that in a new terminal and run that. All right, so this looks like errors, but it says the tables already exist, so it's not really an error. I probably need to update a lot of packages in this. So finally, let's just run it and see if it works. What happens when you come back to a project you haven't touched in months? You got to go through that README, which is why documenting your code and how it works and the infrastructure and the higher level design, very important to do on a project, because you're going to come back later, have no idea how to do it. You're going to onboard people and hire people. They're going to have no idea how to do it. So you got to, documentation is probably more important than even the coding part on longer, large scale projects, right? All right, so we have a setup. It looks like it's working. Now, what we could try to do is I want to just sign in. Keep our fingers crossed that those .env files are set up correctly. I'm going to sign in, and I'm going to do it with Google. All right, yes, it's looking good. It's looking good. I'm going to go ahead and snap this to the right so you can actually see that there's more buttons here. Okay. We got some errors in the console, but I mean, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just clear it out. Here we go. Let's start fresh. I know my starter kit it's got some errors. We'll fix those later on, right? So let's go and just make sure. Can I create a group? Again, the starter kit has a bunch of stuff built into it of just showing you how you might want to create a group. This is a group management platform. So if I want to make a group for JavaScript learners, all right, and join me to learn more about JavaScript for the year 2025 or something. Let's create that group. And there we go. It's been added, and it's probably in our Postgres database now. We can manage it. And because we are the admin of this group, which is baked into the starter kit, you have role-based authorization and all these endpoints. You can change the info. This is going to show up on the home screen. We can also change some stuff over there, I think, in settings. The user experience could use some work, right? I'm not a user experience person. I just throw a couple cards up there, throw some top nav up there. But, there's people whose full-time job is to think of the best user experience someone could take when they first load up your application. I'm not that type of person. I just know how to code stuff. But anyway, yeah, it seems like it's working. I know I went off on a tangent just talking about stuff, but it seems like the app is working and running locally, which is what we set off to do. Why? Why did I do all that? Because we want to be able to run this, and we want to be able to update it. Okay, that's the more important thing. Not run this. We want to be able to update it. And if you can't verify everything's working via automated testing or via some type of I don't know, some type of automated system, then you're going to be spending a lot of time trying to upgrade this thing and not know what's broken. Okay. So how do you upgrade this stuff? Let's go to package.json. Let's look at the top level. And we're going to zoom out because this is actually getting to serious development here, not just to-do list applications. So we have all these dependencies, tons of them. Beautiful thing. Node.js, beautiful ecosystem. And with all these dependencies, we have to make sure that we update them, because if you don't update them, there could be security vulnerabilities in the packages you depend on. And when there's a security vulnerability in the version you have, that means if someone learns about the vulnerability, they can come and try to figure out your system that's deployed to production, especially if you're open source, and they can scan through your code base and see, oh, well, this is actually just, you're using the right package, so I can probably just, infiltrate your system with whatever security breach was found until you update. Now, as far as version locking, some people say they do version locking on their packages, and other people say that they don't. Like, you may want to have like the patch version be able to be updated, which I forget already. I think it's a caret, and that'll allow for like the minor in the patch to update and not allow the major to update, I believe. But if you lock them down, you just have this more strong guarantee that something will not update under the hood, which again, let's talk about another security vulnerability you could encounter. I think it's called like a supply chain attack. So if you have these set as carets, and for whatever reason you run, in your Circle CI process, you do an update or an npm install, it may grab a new version of your package, right? And when it does that, what that means is it's just going to install whatever package that someone might have just published this morning that has an exploit in it, and then they delete that package later on or something. These are things, because like you have all these packages, and all these packages have third-party dependencies, and those dependencies have more dependencies. It's crazy with the dependency graph of Node.js, but if you want to move fast, I guess, and have a bunch of dialogues and drop-down menus, you use Node.js and Next.js. But so how do we update this? Now, one way I like to do this is by using npm check updates. This is like a package you can install. I've been using it for a while. There's probably some other ways you could do it too, but basically you install it and you can run ncu on your command line, and it's going to do a check against like all your other stuff and tell you what's out of date. So now it's installed. I can say ncu, I believe, in this directory, and it's going to hopefully analyze that package JSON. Now we have a list, a pretty like a Christmas tree, lit up, a list of what things we need to update. So here's the scary part. When you want to update and you have all these dependencies because you haven't come to a project in a couple of months, it can be very tedious, because some of these packages might break your code. And when they break your code, it's very hard to go through and try to figure out, okay, which one was it? Because sometimes you get some very, very obscure error messages. And like, for example, let's say your React email starts failing, but it's actually failing because of some other package you updated. Anyway, how would you do this? I just do ncu and then update. Now, personally, I would not run an update just yet. Like, you can run a command called ncu-u, and that's going to update your package JSON with like the latest versions that it's telling. But I think it will also do potentially breaking major changes. And so I would probably prefer to only update the major in the patch numbers. So let's go down here, and you can see you can choose what level you want to upgrade to. So I can go ahead and say target minor, and that will allow minor things to update. I can also do a target patch, I believe, and you could start with just the patch. Since I kind of did version locking, there's probably a lot that have been a patch update, or we can just try to do the minor and hope it all works, right? It's always like the less you upgrade, the higher the chance that it's going to work. Okay, so we're going to say ncu. Let me cancel that. I'll say ncu-u, and then I'm going to paste that flag, which unfortunately it's kind of off my screen. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up if I can. Nope. All right, let's just go ahead and just paste -- minor. You'll see that pop up in just a second. Okay, and then it just basically updated a decent amount of packages. And the way you can tell that is go to your git diff and just click on that thing, right? And you'll see we have all these things that are potentially updated now. Cool. So now I think we could probably just, I think you may have to run an npm install after you do that, or npm update. I forget which one it is. I think npm I should be just fine, because I do believe this only changes the config file. I don't think it actually like, what's it do? I don't know. It's just so much stuff, Look at all these flags. There's a lot of stuff. And do I read through the documentation? No. I want to build stuff. But if you don't read through the documentation, you get into issues like this, where we have upgraded something and now it's broken. Okay, so what's this thing? Fuma docs core. Let's go ahead and just look at that one. And we can also see like, what did it upgrade from? So we can do a diff here and we'll find it over here. FumaDocs core, there it is. So it updated to a .2. Now, is that potentially the issue? I don't know. We could try to downgrade that. There's also other things that are kind of breaking from it. Now, if I recall, what this means is that like something, I think this FumaDocs MDX 8.2.34, it depends on FumaDocs Core 12, right? And if you look at the current version that we're updated to, we're still on 11. And I think if you want to get this thing working, we're going to have to upgrade this thing to 11, or sorry, to 12. So let's see if we can do this. I'll say npm install the package. I'll say latest. Hopefully we'll get lucky and get a 12 version, not something that's later than that. So I'm going to try to do some more investigation. Honestly, I don't think we're going to successfully upgrade this in this video, but that's, like I said, I could probably spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's going on here. So what I'm trying to do right here is I'm going to the FumaDocs MDX page, and I'm seeing on the versions they have 11.1.2. And what are we on right now? FumaDocs MDX. Do we even have that? Yeah, I'm on 8. So I feel like this thing probably needs to be upgraded as well. I might just upgrade this one and see what happens. Okay, let's read it again. It says FumaDocs Core 11.3.2. Okay, so now we're updating the MDX, but this one depends on like a higher version of FumaDocs Core, which it's already up to 14. So this may, cause some issues with the docs, at least for the application. But let me just check this real quick. Oh, what am I doing? Versions, okay, 14.6.0. Yeah, I might just try updating that, 14.6.0. And it'd be nice if they're all like unified together with the version numbers here, but open source is hard. All right, it's making some progress this time. At least last time it aired out super fast. So that's something that you're going to run into when you're trying to maintain a project, is you're going to run into weird dependency issues where like you updated a package, but that package depends on a package of a higher version that you have in your code base. And now you have to go through this whole like rabbit hole of fixing your versions and updating them. And then you run the application, which we could do here. If I just go ahead and actually should have just restarted, but this is Next.js. So I'd probably recommend clearing this thing and just force refresh it so that you can see that it did break something. So something now broke here. And it's failing in the next docs part. Okay, so that kind of sucks. Like we're gonna have to figure out what we're doing wrong with these FumaDocs library and debug all that. Now, one thing you could potentially do is just like comment some stuff out. Like I wonder if I don't do this and just export this thing. In fact, let me just do the hacky way. Let me do this. Comment this out and do that. Okay, so let's see. Does the app still fail? Oh, we fixed it. Okay, now there's going to be routes that are probably going to be broken, but at least we've updated the application. Now we're going to see if it works, because often you do all this stuff and then there's actual functionality in your application that silently breaks. And this is where you wish you wrote a lot of automated tests, or at least a subset of tests to verify that, hey, when I update these packages and there's like this weird edge case that breaks, can I find it before I actually deploy to production? Or is it going to break for all my users and then I'm going to go back and revert and stuff? Yeah, so I don't know. Is this working? I don't know. So I have to refresh it. There's still an error there. I had to do a double refresh, which is something I've noticed with using Next.js, is like when you first start the server, sometimes like I have to do a hard refresh on my open panel. I don't know. I haven't had time to investigate it. But what we could do now is, yeah, I think we're in a better spot. Again, we're trying to update to Next 15, but I had tons of outdated package versions there that I just wanted to at least update the patch in minor versions and verify that something works. So that's check that off the list. We're making some progress, but I'm not going to keep doing this thing. I'm running out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and just check out a new branch. Again, you could do it in the command line if you're a boss, but if you want to, just do it over here. It's probably easier for your sanity. Let's go and name this commit. Actually, I want to check out a branch, like say checkout to, and then we want to create a new branch, and we're going to call it updating docs to. Oh, sorry, not updating. Yeah, updating minor patch. Oh, I can't type right now. Let's just go ahead and run this. So now we checked out a new branch, which if I was better at streaming and recording my screen, you'd see at the bottom left of my monitor, but for some reason it doesn't show. But anyway, that thing has been committed, or sorry, that branch has been generated. All right, and now we should hopefully at least be able to stash or not stash, stage our changes. And then I'm going to go ahead and just say updating the minor in patch versions to try to upgrade eventually to next 15. We can just go ahead and commit this stuff, and we're going to publish that branch up. Go back to GitHub. I like to just double check that like it's there. So the app we're doing is the WDC starter kit. Let's look at that. And here's my branch right there. So click it. It'll actually select that branch in GitHub. And yeah, so if you want us to go and look at that branch, you can go find it. But I'm basically just doing this because like I'm committed now. Now I have to go back and actually finish this. And, taking those first steps of updating it, it just needs to be done. So by the way, if there's anything that I did in this video that you're like, yo, there's a much easier way to upgrade your packages, like let me know in the comments, because that would be a very good thing to have everyone understand. And me going and Googling the best way to do it, that means I have to read. I don't want to do that. So let's just go ahead and call this video. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me do a little bit of live coding. Probably disappointed with the progress of how far we got the package JSON, but I think we're going to get there. Maybe I'll make another video to finish this upgrade if you guys enjoy it. Have a good day. Happy coding.